amazing. You're amazing. Hello, amazing students. It's been a very hectic month for all of us, hasn't it been? I've put together this special video with you in mind. I'd love to see you succeed in your course. This is your passport. Your passport. Remember, readers are leaders. So welcome to ENG1503 with me, Takira Mwashe, the place where future leaders come to get inspired. Part 1 for amazing reading time savers. The first one there is skim and scan through. Skimming definitely is a powerful skill, and you might want to use this to actually read quickly to get through the text so that you actually get the gist or the general idea of the meaning of the text. So it saves you time, really, especially if you have large volumes to go through for your reading. Scanning simply means or refers to reading very quickly to find specific information or dates or statistics, and this will become more applicable as we do the comprehension. You'll see how this works in practice, so keep your eyes peeled. You also need to be able to spot tricky keywords and key phrases, and how you do that is you have a highlighter. You highlight those words, you keep them under your radar. You also need to annotate your margins, make notes on the text itself. This is going to aid your understanding and aid recall as well. And the final one there is inference. Inference is very useful for academic reading or anything that you read where you actually make an educated guess. So you kind of put your own spin onto what the reader or the author is trying to say, and that shows your criticality as a reader. Next, we're going to be looking at the actual text. Part 3, how cults become religions. So in this segment of the lesson, we're going to be looking at the heading or the topic. That's the essay by John D. Carl, and what we are going to look out for is a clue to some of the words that are in there that will give us a direction as to where this argument is going or what this essay is about. So I've decided I'm going to underline cults because I thought, well, I'm not so sure whether I understand that. So what I do here is, once I highlight that, as you can see, I just did that earlier just to save time, I decided to take out my dictionary and check cults and the meaning. So what came up was, the entry was idols. So I know that cults are idols, or people that are idolized, or groups of people. And then I went down and I read what that short description of what this essay is about. It says John D. Carl is a college professor and textbook author. In the following adapted essay, it discusses how religious institutions evolve. Even there, I decided I don't understand what evolve means. So I highlighted that, and as you can see there, I've put a little explanation or annotated to develop. Alright? And this essay has been actually structured in this way. It's, as you can see, there are 7 paragraphs, and that makes it easier for the reader to break down the ideas, because each paragraph carries an idea that is developed in the next one, so on and so forth, and then the conclusion is in paragraph 7. So to make it easier for myself, what I would do is I would look not at the whole essay. Well, I'll skim, and scan, as we just spoke about earlier, and then narrow it down to paragraph one, just to pay attention to paragraph one, what's going on, because I suspect in that paragraph I'll get an idea of what the writer is actually proposing, his main story, his main argument. So let's read this together. Sociologist Emil Durkheim believed that religion binds the community together through ritual and tradition. Almost most societies have some sort of dominant religion. There are many different religions, each of which comes with its own set of beliefs and customs. But how does a set of beliefs become an accepted religion? Religions go through a series of stages as they become an integrated part of society. I decided to be honest with myself that I actually don't know what a sociologist is, so I highlighted that. I highlighted ritual, tradition, dominant, integrated. I mean, obviously it's different for each person. You might highlight fewer more words, or might even highlight more words. But the point is, it helps you to actually spot those words that you think you don't understand, because that makes it easier for you. Once you understand those words, you begin to have a broader understanding of the story or the message. So what I would do is, I tend to have like a notebook where I write down the meaning, the actual word in there, and I find the meaning in the dictionary and I write down the meaning, and I also create another section where I use that in a sentence, just to get a bit more confident in using the words in the language. So you could do the same. So if you look at that very paragraph one, it's a very important paragraph, because it is an introductory paragraph. It is where the author is most likely, or he should, tell us what this is all about. And he does that by using a topic sentence or a thesis statement. Alright? So make a note of what's going on in that paragraph one. So let's just say you didn't, like me, I didn't know what a sociologist is or what it means. So I'm trying to find out, the meaning of this. So I go into the dictionary, I find out, okay, it's actually a person who does the study of human society and their interactions. I would even go as far as finding out who Emil Durkheim was, who he was. It might help you, give you an idea of the sort of sociologist he was. I'm not going to go into the details of actually revealing that now. That's for you to do. Alright? You could also look at a word like ritual, and you find out what the ritual is, and you find actually ritual are these repeated patterns or behavior or actions. For example, a prayer could be a ritual. Anything that you do, if you meditate every day, you could exercise every day, it could be your ritual. Okay? And I also looked at the word dominant, because there is dominant religion. Okay? And what comes back for me as I read that, I annotate it to mean having influence, that is, to be dominant. Alright? And then you have the last one, the integrated. So I also checked that one out in the dictionary, because I don't know what it means. And I don't want to leave this out, because it might just give a clue to what's going on in the article or essay. And integrated is simply to be amalgamated or to be combined, to become part of something, a community, so to say. So we've only just dealt with paragraph one, and already we have a clear, some kind of idea that this essay is addressing religion and how cults become religions. So that's an important point to note, and we can always go back and check if that is correct, because it states there that religions bind community together through ritual and tradition. And then you go into paragraph 2. You also look for words. I look for words that I find are a bit tricky to me. I underlined cults, which I already dealt with at the top, but that's important as well. Charismatic. I'm trying to find out what charismatic means. And charismatic are those individuals who are very confident they've got this compelling charisma. Okay? And there's an interesting thing about charismatic leaders. You might find actually charismatic leaders have the good, but they also have the bad in them. So bear in mind what is going on here. The next word is non-conformist. I decided to break this word down into two words, non and conformist. Non, which is not, conformist, which is someone who follows the rules. So clearly, non-conformist would be someone who actually doesn't follow the rules. Okay, they go against the norm. You have the next word there, which is subversive. Subversive, again, if you break those two words, sub, right, which means below, subversive, put them together, you get an idea. When I looked that word up, I found actually this is like a very disruptive individual, or it could be a group of people. All right, so that's what I found. And the next one is obliterate. Okay, if you look at that there, the Chinese authorities don't quite fancy Falun Gong, which is a very disruptive movement. So what are they going to do? They're going to try and what? Destroy them, wipe them out. So obliterate means just wiping out. Followed by the crackdown. Because they don't actually like them, they wipe them out, they crack them down. Okay, so they restrict their movement in the country. Paragraph 3, I've highlighted adherence. And I'm thinking of the word here, the verb adhere, to stick to follow. And cults, or a cult, definitely needs to work on its new followers or recruits, and recruits who are meant to follow the rules, strict rules that are run by this group of people. Okay, and then you have what we call a sect. A sect is another group of people, but the difference here is you're looking at how these cults build into a larger group for their support. So first of all, it's got to be a cult movement, and then that cult culminates into what becomes a sect. Okay, and sect, sect is known, is generally taken as a group of people who don't actually follow the society's norms or practices, right? They do their own thing. And then there's the word integrated. Integrated, as I already said, is when you become part of the society, or you're amalgamated into society, and you become one fabric with that society. We say you are integrated. You go on to paragraph 4. We have bureaucratized. I mean, the word bureaucracy. Bureaucracy clearly shows that there are so many complex rules, strict procedures, a lot of control. So that's what we refer to as bureaucratized or bureaucracy. So churches are viewed, according to this essay, as very bureaucratic institutions. The next word I highlighted is ordained. You might be familiar with church clergy, priests who are supposed to be accepted into the church. They have to go through this training, and therefore they are ordained. Once they are approved, we call that they've been ordained, right? Almost like licensed. And you have hierarchy, which is the structure of the leadership of the church. There are what we call ranks. So you got the lower ranks, you got the upper ranks, and those who are at the upper ranks or the hierarchy at the top of the hierarchy make decisions. And most of those decisions probably binding. You have dioceses or parishes. These are different districts that in this case we are referring to the Catholic Church, that is divided in two, and each area has its own pastor or reverend, and even smaller areas have got what we call parishes. Paragraph 5, I underlined theocracy. Theocracy, as you can see there, it says a state religion or theocracy. There's an example which is given there of a country like Iran, which is a theocratic government. In other words, government is run by church leaders. Whatever decisions are made, church leaders have an influence on them, because they're at the pinnacle, they're at the top. So pinnacle, top, highest making body. And you have the word moral, which is always associated with high moral grounds, good or bad, right? Paragraph 6, I underline secularization, a very common word today, and an issue which is being addressed by so many religious organizations, that society is becoming secularized. That is, they're pulling away from religion, churches. There's a decline. Fewer and fewer people are questioning this and not so keen on it. So we say that the society is becoming secular. There are reasons for that. You might have to read deep into this and find out what they are, but it's all stated out for you there. And I highlighted complex. As sociologists generally argue that as a civilization becomes complex, like today, it's very, very complex. It's not so easy. You can't pinpoint exactly why people behave the way they do. There are too many factors, too many reasons. Okay? And paragraph 7, intrinsically connected. Durkheim argues that religious beliefs are intrinsically connected. It's almost like a societal fabric that is woven together. Okay? The societal fabric pulled together by this one or common beliefs, religious beliefs. Maybe they come together for a reason, but they are that connected. And those beliefs or the belief systems pull them together. Cults begin by endorsing practices outside of the dominant religion. To endorse is to approve. So cults are doing this, and as they do that, as they work on or supporting or approving those practices that are not necessarily the dominant religion, they take over and they begin to have followers, they become a sect, and they are amalgamated into society. The final word there is norms. Norms is just like practices. So I've just tried to show you what you could do, something very, very simple, where you actually look for words you don't understand and be honest and say, I don't think I understand this. What is the meaning of this? Use a dictionary, find the word, and you move on and you make notes, so on and so forth. And then if you go back to paragraph 1 and you read again that very text, probably this time slower, you're not actually skimming and scanning, you begin to see a pattern developing. That argument is developed in from paragraph 1. Second paragraph develops what was said or written in paragraph 1. 3 takes over until 7. 7 is almost like the conclusion, but you can see a pattern developing there. It's a very powerful way of doing things. It'll save you time. I hope you find this app very helpful. And part 3, we've come to the last segment of this lesson, which is answering the comprehension task. The section before this one, where we're looking at those strategies that save you time, you can now see why those are time savers. If you skip that step of actually looking at keywords and skimming, scanning, inferring, highlighting, annotating, you would have a bit of tough time doing the questions and getting them correctly. So this is set out for you as a target practice for what is to become a serious assignment worth 50 marks. And if you follow these steps, if you follow what's going on here, you're guaranteed a very good pass. A good pass. A passport. Right? So there are 9 questions in the Comprehension and Critical Thinking, How Cars Become Religions by John D. Carr. With yours, Taki Ramashe, breaking it down for you. So focus and make notes. I'll try and zoom in and zip through this, possibly at some point put a link somewhere where you can actually see the answers, but for now you might want to make some notes. First question, paragraph 2, what does the word nonconformist mean? Nonconformist, according to paragraph 2, if we go back there, refers to what we call, you could write something along the lines of atypical to the desired model of societal beliefs and practices. So that is going against the societal beliefs and practices. That is a person who is nonconformist. Question 2, find a word in paragraph 2 that means rebellious. Rebellious, simply the word there is subversive. You find it in that paragraph 2. We've dealt with that in that previous slide. Question 3, underline the thesis statement of this essay. When we spoke about the thesis statement, I did mention that your thesis statement could be a sentence or two that sort of signposts what the author or the writer is proposing, his argument. Alright? In this case, I think I would have underlined religion binds the community together. You could say that through ritual and tradition. Because pretty much this whole essay is about religion and its effect on societies, and of course tying it to how cults become religions. Question 4 says, what type of process does the author use to explain the development of religions? I'm not so sure this is a very clear question. I had difficulty doing this one, I have to be honest. I don't know what the intention of this question was. It's not very, very clear for me. And I'll just go with B, understand the process, because you have to undergo through a process of religion and the development of religion. Question 5, according to paragraph 2, why do societies have a negative attitude towards cults? You may have to infer or guess. There you go. See that word? Infer, guess. So there is no perfect answer here, but it's got to be something that when you do write it, it's convincing enough. There's a bit of broader reading shown in your answer. And the following response would be something that you might want to look at or read or write. So question 5, you write down maybe, yes, cult practices are usually foreign and niche. Okay, we tend to reject what is unfamiliar to us. I mean, they're almost like a threat, isn't it? So that's really the reason why societies might have a negative attitude towards cults. Question 6, what are some of the similarities and differences between a cult and a sect? Well, let's start with similarities. They're similar in that they go against societal norms or practices. They are different because sects have more members. Okay, you could be looking at that. Question 7, according to paragraph 4, what are the 3 characteristics of a church? It has a great number of followers, it's a clearly organized structure, and it has specifically trained leaders. Great number of followers, clearly organized structure, specially trained leaders. Question 8. In which paragraph does the author use the following details? Informed opinion. Paragraph 7. Okay, if you look at paragraph 7 there, you will clearly see that that is informed. Okay, so Durkheim is putting his own informed opinion on this, and he also uses statistics in paragraph 4 and 6. Paragraph 4, he talks about the 25% of the United States of America is Catholic, right? So if there were 250 million people, the population was made of 250 million, we assume that there will be about 60 million Americans who are Catholic. Okay, that's just a little example there. And paragraph 6 as well, he uses statistics, some number there. If you look at the polling report, they report something about the number has doubled since 1965. Okay, and the actual example of what he uses, he says around 25% of US is Catholic. He actually does state that in the text where he says, for example, or as an example, right? And question 9, according to the text, what causes the decline of religions? It doesn't say according to me or according to you. It says according to the text. So if you look here, it says, I think that's the 3rd line. As societies modernize, religions begin going through secularization, which is the overall decline in the importance of power of religion in people's lives. Institutional religion weakens as societies become more scientifically advanced. So there's the answer. Scientific advancement. My amazing students, you've done very well to stick to the end of this with me. I hope you find this video very useful. Please just leave a commentary down below there. Which tip you found more useful? Just share your thought on the comment below. Thanks for watching, my lovely students. Make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss another video. I will be making another video which is going to address the questions on essay writing skills. That's the writing topics. There are about 3 of them, so look out for that one, because I'll be breaking it down for you, how you go about exploring, developing and revising and editing your work. And this is going to be so powerful for that essay which is looming in your assignment due on the 21st of August. So don't miss it. See you soon.